Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 170 of the Revive Yourself podcast. Here we go.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Have you got a health issue that just won't go away no matter what you try? Then welcome to the Revive Yourself podcast, where we reveal the secrets to long-lasting health by getting to the root cause of problems that no one else is talking about. So you can have more energy, clear skin, healthier hair, a leaner physique, more confidence, and most importantly, do the things you love and live the life you deserve. Here's your host, Ryan Martin.
So everybody, welcome back to the show, episode 170. I've actually got a few episodes lined up for you, and today's one I'm actually slipping it in earlier than, I've only recorded it a few days ago, in fact yesterday. Hopefully this will go out within a few days of being recorded. It should do. And I'm putting it in because there's some interesting information in there regarding what's been going on in the background regarding the world right now. I've got some great interviews as well lined up for you. One with Nick Patterson again. I've got Dawn and David Parker from What Really Makes You Ill back on the show for round 2. Got a great episode with Warren Williams all about religion. I'm going to have 2 episodes with myself as well, talking about a couple of different topics, which we'll go in there. But I wanted to put this one in today because it's relevant to the time that we're in. And to be honest with you, the 3 episodes I recorded around Christmas time, we had problems with the audio. I just managed to fix it this week. So I'm glad that that's ready for you, because I didn't want to lose out on those 3 fantastic interviews. This week's episode is going to be with Tom Stavely of Ancient Purity. I'm going to go into lots of issues around what's going on in the world, regarding Donald Trump, the way that the mainstream media are controlling people, what they're doing in terms of advertising, trying to make social distancing and mask wearing normal, and we go into all that around the brainwashing, which is really interesting, which we'll get to in just a bit. As always, the episode is sponsored by www.reviveyourself.co, and on there you can find our shop, which has got the best natural health products on the market by none. We've got products from Evolution Organics with them. We've got one of the products I always talk about, which is Living Fuel, the best all-round product on the market bar none. We've got liver supports and milk thistles to keep your liver, the battery of life, working. Mushroom products from Four Sigmatic, they're fantastic. You can add them into your morning teas. They're immune boosting, nootropic as well, so very, very good for brain health. And all the soaps, clean soaps from Dr. Bronner's, and shampoos and deodorants. We move down to Ancient Purity. Got fantastic products there when it comes to gut health and healing and sealing your gut. And also got some fantastic products when it comes to your skin as well, with the oxygenated olive oil, which is a stalwart product I really enjoy. Ancient Purity, I always talk about pearl powder, any great for internal health, and also topically on your skin, getting rid of any blemishes. Royal jelly, it's what Bruce Lee used to drink in his tea. Me and Tom were actually talking about that and making maybe a product where we combine a few teas with that. But yeah, it's full of amino acids, once again immune boosting, great for immune function and getting the body all the nutrients it needs. Also in winter months, got the vitamin C and vitamin D products in Ancient Purity. I'd highly recommend. Vitamin C is liposomal. They've also got a vitamin D3, which is liposomal, which means it gets absorbed in the mouth and in higher amounts. Other products we've got there, I'm just having a think. Also the Volvic mineral is great to have in your morning tonic. Then we go down to biooptimizers, which have got the best probiotics, max enzymes, HLC on the planet right now, from my main man Wade Lightheart. They're extremely good products, and I recommend them if you're dealing with digestive issues. You need to get to the root cause of the problem, but these will definitely give you relief if you're looking to increase your hydrochloric acid, your digestive fires, and also the probiotics they've got there. They've got a formula which is second to none, so it's actually the best formula at helping digest proteins on the planet. And we've also got a product called Gluten Guardian. So if you're ever out and you're having a beer, or you want to have some nice rolls or some pasta, take a couple of gluten guardian products with you, and they help break down the gluten molecules in your food, so you don't get any problems if you're actually gluten intolerant, or if gluten just gives you an issue, which it does for most people even without knowing it. So those products on the market. Then we've got obviously the Memon products, which are the EMF blocking products from a company that I found this year, which are phenomenal for anyone who wants to mitigate their exposure to EMF on their body, in their car, or in their house. The combi builds a force field around your house, which you can plug into the wall, and it uses the house's electrical mains to build that force field, which is really important in today's world, where they're actually trying to, there's so many invisible frequencies going around, and they're turning up the 5G, so it's really important. Products from Memon. I was talking to Dr. Klinghardt, and he talks about the only people he knows that can fully heal, the ones that can safely mitigate themselves from EMF, so it's really important. Then we've got our products from Essential Oil Wizardry. My friend Dr. Nick Berry, the best essential oils on the planet bar none. If you're going to use that site, put in the code REVIVE, and you're going to get 10% off. And look, a lot of people, women, all the time using fragrances that are extremely toxic to their body, cancer causing, hormone disrupting, and you just don't need them. Whereas if you use essential oils, it's not only going to smell fantastic, but they're healthy for the body, they're immune boosting. So I would be using essential oils from Dr. Nick Berry. And also, if you head over to our friend Andy Mamp's website at blueblocks.com, BLUBLOX.com, for the best blue blocking glasses on the planet. You've got you also got the clear glasses you can wear in a day if you're looking at the screen, but in the evening you've got the red blocking glasses, the red lenses, I should say, the blue blocking glasses, red lenses, and you've also got the yellow ones as well that are great for around sunset or dawn or dusk and dawn. And once again, put in the code REVIVE, you're going to get 10% off there. So we've got everything lined up in the shop. We're going to be getting more products on the market. Tom's actually just sent me over some stuff that I'm going to be trying in terms of some creams and moisturizers, and a few other things that we've got up our sleeve that could be coming soon, which we'll be looking into. Heading over to www.reviveyourself.co to get the best in natural health on the planet, and when it comes to supplements. That's it for there. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Here's Tom Stavely, and I'll see you on the other side.
And it just green screen for you, so it's quite cool.
All right, cool. Yeah. You've gone through. I've seen on the brand that you've got some. It's almost like you've changed your artwork a little bit. You've gone a few different colours.
Yeah. We've done a few new things because I'm doing this health, freedom, and spirit thing at the moment. So we're not at the moment. That's what I'm doing now.
What?
Can you hear me all right? I'm going a little bit.
Yeah, I can. It's just a little bit in and out. Can you hear me all right or not?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, cool. It's just the connection in here is sometimes a bit off, so we just have to see what we can do. Shouldn't be too bad. But what is this health, spirit, and freedom thing? You mean you're actually not the supplements? You're actually talking about the whole paradigm when it comes to health.
The company in my life. Yeah, I can tell you about it. Let me see. With Skype, how do you record it?
I'm recording already.
Oh, it just goes in the chat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Okay. It's 10 years this year that we've been doing this. Or I've been doing it with other people. Just turn that off. And it's really, probably as it has to you, it's really become apparent that our freedom's completely under attack. That this is just in short, everything that I read 20 years ago, that I thought some of this, if this isn't stopped, some of this could happen over the next 100 years. Like this is a long game. They're planning doing all this stuff, and for it all to happen in one go, which was all last year, is just and not just all of it to happen, but all of it to happen and worse. I even when I read about these things in conspiracy books and sort of the early days of YouTube before it was censored, and when I used to go on like sort of alternative sites, I never thought it could be done like this. And congratulations to them for doing it so well, for really killing every bird with one stone. Pretty much is what they've done with this. So I suppose the first 10 years have been about really. We used to have our slogan was revealing the secrets to health and longevity, and we've done that now. And I think all of the information is out there, or at least there's enough people out there like yourself that know all this information now, and it's there. There's no more secrets. How to be healthy. It's people know how to do it. So that part is done, and the next part that we all need to turn to is freedom, because that's what's been under attack more than anything, and we're living in it still. Well, you're not at the moment because you're in Mexico, but right now we're living in their future now.
Mate, I came here because I knew what was coming. It's like I said this so many times. How many times do the conspiracy theories have to pay attention? And I'd stay and fight if I knew that more and more people were awake. And I mate, through the whole first lockdown, didn't do a single thing they said. I come to see you. I was going to the gym. I was going out. I was doing anything. I don't listen to a word they say. And if everyone was like me and was like you, would have lasted about 4 seconds. But unfortunately, people were brought into the light. What's that meme? People don't know they're brainwashed, whatever, because they're brainwashed and manipulated. And it's like they've been buying into it for so long. Even when tens of thousands of doctors and scientists have been deplatformed and censored and silenced, nothing they do makes sense. 2 weeks of flattening the curve, we're 10 months in. Vaccines being rolled out, they're completely liability free, they're being rushed through.
It's almost
who
like,
said that this was?
I said to a friend, and I said, after this, I'm sure that they could literally come round your house and just set stuff up in your house. What we thought, if they could come around your house and do something worse, I won't say that. They could come around your house and what they could get away with now, knowing that they can just make that happen so easy. For that to have been so easy for them to roll out is
Tom, they've gone to people's houses and taken away their laptops and phones for people that have written stuff online. In Australia, people that have been setting up protests, they've taken their phones and computers away. So it's what's going on recently, where I said people wanted a dictatorship and they've got it, and it comes in the name of Silicon Valley. Like when you're taking
the last 7, just going into the forest to turn this heater off. The last, I mean, it's changing daily now, isn't it? And the last 7 days have been insane, and it's continuing. It's every day is a massive change, and I don't know about you, but it's a huge leap to go, right, who's close to the truth here, and then thinking, right, I think this is what's going to play out, and then it's back to, no, I'm not sure about this. So it's been a real, as I'm sure it has for you, a real roller coaster thinking, what is it exactly is next, what's coming? And there's so many different scenarios now. It's like we've all got the whole, so we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're going to find. I mean, you've got the whole Q thing, which we can go into, which they talk about certain thing, but then we say no, it's all a nonsense, it's all a setup. And look, at the end of the day, all I know is the thing they wanted to push through. You know, they've got people in the palm of their hands, people wearing masks. Even an article come out today saying maybe one mask isn't enough, maybe you should wear 2. And listen to any when enemies wearing masks, it completely dehumanises them. And so I said before, I put an article up. It's like black versus white, rich versus poor, left versus right, masked versus unmasked, vaccinated versus unvaccinated, and they just want to divide and conquer, and people have to see it. They're so blind to it. People are addicted to the news, Tom. I say turn off the news and the radio, the mainstream media, and watch your anxiety disappear, and watch the virus go away instantly. But people are addicted to the news like they're addicted to soap operas, and they watch it. You just told me, this. You vote for someone comes along and says everything's going to change, it's going to be different. They get in power, nothing changes. None of their truths, none of the things they promise comes true. Then next 4 years later, you get someone on the other side says the same thing. It's just nonsense. And so, at what point do people actually wake up to realize what's going on? But where do you think? Where do you think it's going? What do you? I mean, been some interesting. I don't know if you follow a guy called Simon Parks.
I've listened to those.
And what you think is going on with Trump?
Yeah, I've listened to all of Simon's videos and Charlie's videos. I've listened to the other Charlie Freak's videos, and I mean, he did a fantastic. He's just gone off of YouTube. Did a fantastic video the other night. So I'm listening to all of them, and really as well trying to think critically about it as well. So I've come to the conclusion. Literally, I mean, it's really been 2 months since the 3rd. We've been thinking, okay, what's good? The 3rd of November, that is. We've been thinking what's going to happen, and we're literally into the last week now. So it's 7 days, and I think some of what Simon said was like, yeah, this really sounds okay. This sounds like it's all going to come through, and then the plan seems to change, but as we know, it's not for any of us to understand. If any of us understood what was going to happen, or even had a really accurate clue, it would possibly jeopardize whatever plan there is. Because if we could work it out, they could work it out, and there would be a contingency plan. So it's not really for us to know, which is awful because we all want to know, and we, especially living like this here, which is, under house arrest, really. So all of us want to see an end to this and at least see some light at the tunnel. And if you believe the mainstream narrative, it is what they say, and that's no light. That's going into a very dark tunnel. So, So unfortunately, I think things are going to be okay. I think that we'll get through this. Every empire of the past must have seemed invincible at its time. I'm sure the people that lived with the Roman Empire couldn't possibly thought that it would collapse at some point. I went to Cambodia when I was 20, and I went around the Angkor Wat there, and it's an incredibly vast collection of temples, and civilization was there. And at some point, it went down, and everybody had to walk away from it. Even a smaller modern example, when I was a teenager and I liked football, Manchester United seemed invincible. It seemed like that was all it was going to be. And partly, I think at the time, that's why I stopped watching football, because I was so bored of it being Manchester United every year. I was just not watching it anymore. And then what happened to them? And then they were down the bottom of the table, I hear, like a year or so ago, weren't they? They really went down the tubes. So I think even interestingly, Jeff Bezos said in an interview a year ago that at some point Amazon will fail. And that's really interesting, because I bet that everybody would think at this moment it's impossible that Amazon could fail. But look at it. I know I won't. I'm going to tell the truth. I still occasionally will get something on there if it's easy, but everything that I buy, I go to websites now. I mean, I'd rather go to shops, but they don't really exist at the moment. So, but it is possible. And you probably heard already about Telegram, because I think you joined yesterday or the day before, didn't you?
I've been on. Yeah. I was going to say I've been on Telegram for about a year, and I've been on Signal for about 6 months. But was it
25 million migrate?
You said that
so,
in the last 72 hours.
Yeah, that's effective. That's positive. That proves how much people are sick of the control of social media. And either, depending on what you believe, either they've completely shot themselves in the foot and thought they're invincible, or this has maybe been done deliberately. It's almost like a little thing where you have to wake people up, and it's like will make things so bad that it will push them to wake up, because the only way they really can wake up is not probably so much. Some people can by being told, but then it's usually because they've asked. But most people need to think for themselves and go, hang on, this is going too far now. I need to look at this. So,
well, Tom, I think I put a post up in June or July saying my conversations have gone from Ryan, you're a nutcase, to oh, you might be onto something here, Ryan, to I got to now. So it's sort of like, and I was like, this is people like me. I've been in this world 12 years. You've been in it longer. We've known about these companies and what they've wanted planned and how they've wanted to do it, and the speed and efficiency of what they've done it. I think has been down to the fact that the world was waking up, really waking up, and so they did it very, very quickly. And they want to keep everyone. This is the thing, Tom. I struggle with this because my evolution is to move out of like, obviously out of 3D, but out of 4 or 5D into like the 6th, 7th dimension, try like and be more like that. But it's really hard to pull people out of hell when you're in those levels. I mean, put out a positive message, but to try and wake people up that are still so asleep, it is hard. Like you sit there and think, at what point, like, why do you think they're pushing these vaccines and the constant fear porn and pesticides, herbicides, rodenticides, chemical fertilizers, and poison the water supply, and all these things, and pushing this like masculine agenda because they want you low frequency, they want you sick and toxic, and that's what vaccines do. Apparently, into be able to get outside the third dimension, and the world's consciousness was really waking up. And that's something they didn't want because the more conscious we are, the more we all love each other rather than hate each other.
That's one thing that I think is the most dangerous thing about this, because even most adults that maybe go along with it, after when the masks swap for whatever scenario, at some point the masks will come off. And a lot of people that are older will go, oh, well, thank God that's over, and they'll go back to normal. But the damage is the children. So getting children that are developing now that are afraid to go and touch, let you hug other children, and be in contact with people, them seeing people walking around with masks, them getting used to this stuff, that's what's scary. Because I don't know if you know about the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, but they did some pretty horrendous things. That was a communist regime with a guy called Pol Pot running it. And what they did is they brainwashed the children so much. They had children killing adults, killing their own parents in some cases, and that was all through indoctrination of their regime. So the stuff that they can make happen by getting children don't know when they're born. They don't know what's right and wrong. They have a rough idea, obviously, of course they do, but they can be taught really, or they can pick up really bad habits.
But Tom, even adults, mate, like this is the funny thing. This is the funny thing with this, and it's sort of like, at what point are people purely ignorant? Like, have you never read a history book? They've done this in Russia, they've done it in China, as you said before, done it in Cambodia, these places. They've done it all over the world. And getting people to tell on other people, and the government see it. And if you step outside line, you're just squashed like a bug. It's what Yuri Bezmenov said. He said, "We'll take over America." It's already begun. And I think someone said, one of the Russian generals said, "We'll take over America without it." Okay, and it's like you control information, control what people think, like, and they've done it. And look, you put it this way: if they have a food shortage or a power outage, people are going to turn on each other to try and get food or whatever. They're not going to go and turn on the government, which they should do. It's not the people who's caused your food shortage, it's the people in the parliament. And so this is where even adults, Tom, how many adults do you know are actually aware of this? I mean, in our world, because of what we do, we meet a lot of people like that. If you look around your friendship group, I've got a friendship group of probably about 30, 40 deep at some point, and I'd say about 5 of them, and maybe a few more that are becoming awake, but to know exactly what's going on, and to even know about health, and to know how much this is going to impact them.
That's
trying to do the current.
First look at your health is like massively, for most people, that would be huge. So to go something as far as this is really, and like you say, when you're in this reality and this bubble of being around people also into it, you forget what it really is like. And then think it's still going on there now, like it was just after lockdown. But I drove around just on a few roads away, and there's a McDonald's drive-through, and the queue it must have been a mile long, and that was just like, well, that's, yeah, that's what a lot of people like.
Yeah, but that's something that me and you, like, as people say to me about certain things you eat, it's like occasionally I'll have certain thing. There's something I never have. It's just like talking to someone the other day, looking lots of Joe. I mean, done a lot of this work years ago, but listening to something about Joe Dispenza, and he's talking about frequencies, and then I was like, yeah, and it's the same as like food. If you go to if you measure like the frequency of McDonald's, for example, the frequency is really small, and you might think that food is nice, long frequencies, and this is what you're having that food. You're scared. You're listening to the mainstream. You're gonna be in that limbic brain. You're gonna be in that survival mode the whole time. You're gonna be scared, rather than being relaxed, calm, eating good food, walks in nature. They've almost made nature a conspiracy theory. It's like fucking hell, and even that word. And so, it is. It's like I go to the supermarket. I was where was we? Here, I didn't even wear a mask or anything like that. But more people realise that it's nonsense just because it's like, where are the bodies? Like there's no one really dying. And they've got rid of the flu. 98% down worldwide.
It will be a great way for so many people. This will be the case to get them to wake up, because it's
been 10 months though, Tom. What do you reckon? How much longer do you reckon it needs?
Well, the problem is that they've got the police and the army, and even if we did have guns, they've got a lot more, and they're legally allowed to use them. So realistically, what can we do when they're closing the businesses, and everyone's always controlled by that thing of getting a fine? So we can't go into any places like that, so that's not possible. And it's just, yeah, what could we do? And it's like, people have asked me about going to protests, and I'm like, well, it needs to get worse, because at the moment it's just people like us that are there, that we already know. They know that we know, but we can't do anything. They know that we can stand outside the Houses of Parliament. They know that we'll get hungry. They know we'll get cold, and they know we'll go home. But if you had millions there, it's a different story. But things haven't got bad enough for people to wake up. So do they have to get a lot worse? And if you follow their ideas, then they obviously have it planned to get a lot worse. So, yeah.
Well, some of the things are in the lockstep. I mean, there's different things, but you get a lot worse. I just say people don't understand what's coming. I mean, not financially either. At the moment, they're on an anaesthetic, and the pain's not hit them yet. But when they wake up from their operation and they've got no organs left, and their liver's been cut out, their spleen's gone, their colon's been removed, their lungs have been sliced, they'll be like, oh, they're in problems. And this is what you realise. They keep printing money and furloughing and bringing the pound and the dollar down. And it's just like people getting bad with freedom. The suicide rate's gone up 33%, I think, the last saw. Which, I mean, if people just look at this logically, it makes no sense. As you said, though, I always said to these people, things are going to have to get a lot worse. It's going to probably have to be, war, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, obviously, as I don't want to repeat.
This is the
people do watch this, they probably heard a lot of this information as well. But it either has to get a lot worse, or we can do. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But thinking on the positive side, there is a few things that we can do at the moment. And it may seem very small, but starting to move away from some of the big tech companies is a first step. That could be a massive shift in power if we did that. I mean, if people start shopping just on companies' websites and not on Amazon, if they moved away from WhatsApp, if they moved away from Facebook Messenger and then Facebook, all of these things will have an effect. We still can do that. That's one little thing that we can all, if everyone starts to realise how bad this is. But like you say, unfortunately, most people aren't aware of how bad it is. And you said back a couple of sentences ago, you said if people just look at the information, and the problem there is look, they're not looking.
Well, to be fair to them, it's like if people understood how much truth from them. Like, I know where to look inside you because we've been doing it for 12 years, whereas now you type in Google and it come up fact checking site. If you check out someone else, you have to get off of Google Chrome, use a browser Brave. You have to get off Google, use Quant or DuckDuckGo. And this is so people send you things like a fact check. I'm like, oh, you just sent me a fact checking site. You're that's where you are in your consciousness. And it's like, obviously people can't be held accountable for that, of which they're not aware. But this is what you're fighting against. All the Agent Smiths of the world, who they've just been taken over, being controlled. And so 100% what they're talking about is that the blackout of the media. If you can silence the president, if you can get him off of Facebook, and for 2 tweets that he said it was inciting violence. I don't know if you know who JP Sears is. He did a brilliant video on it. It's like, and nothing about violence was even mentioned. And they're saying, if you take these tweets in the broader context, he's like, what do you mean out of context? If I take any speech out of context, it can be seen as that. And the very laws that they said that Parler broke, they got Parler with the same laws that people that Parler is responsible for what's written on its site by its users. It's like they're the same. Like the section, I think it's 230. It says Apple. It says Twitter and Facebook, etc., aren't responsible for that. So it's
so
you can do that. You can control so many people.
They're exercising complete control. So the one good thing now is that they're showing their true colours. So the gloves are off now, and everyone knows what they're doing. They're being much more open about it, which is good, because I've always said I'd rather have the mapping.
But Tom,
because at least what they're doing, and they're open.
Well, mate, this is 100%. This is what we got out here, mate. This is why the government can't do much, because
they can't take control. But at least you know.
Out here, to just say no. 100%, and they're absolutely fine. Like, they just want the world to go along. That's why there's no lockdown out here. They said, oh no, we're not locking down. We want the economy to go. We built all the buildings, and it's funny because there's no COVID over here, mate. People wear a mask or whatever, but like the whole world's going on, restaurant shops, no one's like. So all I wanted to say to you there was, what you're saying, like they're showing their true colours. But what's frightening is the amount of people on these social media sites that are like loving the fact that people are getting the speech is being removed. It's like, you can't be for free speech if you're for all speech or you're not. Like, you can't be a little bit for free speech. It's like being a little bit pregnant. And so it shocks you the amount of people that are like loving the fact that people are getting deplatformed and so you want communism.
Let me tell you a couple of things about what I really think about the brainwashing side, which is what I'd like to talk about most about this, because ultimately we have to get out of this, and I don't mean you and me per se, but all of us do, and need to know how we were led into this. So for me, the whole culture of England and of the West, this was set up years ago, and they've done this in a way that they created this culture where staying in became the thing to do. And the fact that something like Netflix was created, instead of even going out to a video shop, at least it was good. At least that was going out to get a video back in the days of Blockbuster and whatnot. So first of all, getting people to stay in more via watching sort of online streaming things, making alcohol cheaper to buy and stay at home instead of going out anymore. And just the fact that there's, lots of people have always taken pride in their homes, but it's become a ridiculous thing I mean, it's obviously it's nice to have a nice house, but it's certainly been something that's been ramped up. All of these things, and we can go on loads of other examples, but loads of little things have been leading towards making people comfortable in their own homes. And it was already getting pretty bad. People weren't going out as much as they used to. And people were becoming more secular anyway. And obviously you've got another big example is the whole gaming thing. And that was already turning a lot of people inward on themselves.
So keep that thought, right? Gaming, and then you've got porn, okay? So if you've read the book, it talks about how things have changed since the iPhone's come out, and like I think you're a bit older than me, Tom. Not much. I think my generation, your generation below me, is like the last generation to really go out and drink, and also to go out and mix with the opposite sex. And part of
online dating
is like going out and getting rejected by girls. It's how you lose. It's how you learn. Sorry, but now they don't even do that. We see each other like 2 to 3 times a week. They see each other 1.5 times a week. Don't go on dates. Scared of it, and so sex is way down, but porn's way up. And so 100%. They're in their house, they're gaming, they're watching TV.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, we could go across so many examples, but even that, although it seems like a nice thing for people, online dating itself is about control again, because it's taking away that sort of random act of meeting people and chance meetings and things happening and developing normal social skills. So all of this thing, and like I say, massively the porn as well, it's all been gearing everybody into a secular life indoors. And they've been building on this, I think, for several years, maybe longer, maybe really probably since 2012, so I think that's when it really...
I think the internet. I mean, when that came out, I think they could see things. I mean, lots of people say that knew that was going to be set up for a long time. But everything they do, my man's got a plan, right? It's
yeah, exactly. And the phrase
it's basically
with it, I heard this phrase a couple of years ago. I don't even want to say it, but I heard it as called a cheeky Nando's, and I thought. Yeah. What is that? Does that mean it's sort of cheeky to actually go out and quickly get something to eat and then come straight back home? Is that what that means? I mean, maybe it's got another meaning that I don't get, but that's what it sounds like to me. And that is, again, part of this whole thing and this whole culture of Netflix and chill. And when people say, yeah, we're just chilling, I'm like, well, that means you're staying in. And as far as I'm concerned, staying in with someone, watching TV and films with them, that isn't bonding. That's distracting yourself together. That's very different. Staying in with someone in your house and just chatting, obviously, that's different. But staying in, watching box sets, and there's these words as well. Come to think of it, the fact that they use the word binge on box sets. That's not a healthy word, and that's sort of it's regularly used now.
Mate, everything's inverted, isn't it? Nothing to help. In the Matrix, when he wakes up and finds out he's been plugged into the system, and that's what they're making, like these little houses for you. People don't leave, and they just what are they doing now, mate? Wait, they can't go out. It's all been deleted. Everything's on the computer. Well, we're doing it now because we're countries apart. I drive over to see you because I actually like to get that interaction with you. I like to have a conversation with you. It's good. Even generally, like all the stuff from your shop, I come to see you because I actually enjoy that aspect of it. It's good to see and talk and have a chat. No, you're right, mate. Like the whole thing, it's all
the more
all been set up this way.
Because I know even some people that know that what's going on is BS. Are still probably going to be slightly becoming a bit of a hermit, and maybe when this is over, they might struggle readapting to a bit more of a social life again. But it is a muscle, and you strengthen it by going out and meeting people and doing stuff again, and you get stronger and better at it. So you just have to force yourself to go and do it once this is over, and it will be over. at some point, hopefully very soon. If
if they have their way, mate. If they have their way, mate, it'll be 2025.
It's going for me now. I really think I'm hoping I'm going to get an answer in a week. That by this time next week, that I'll know. And yeah, if it doesn't go the way that we'd all like it to go, I'm not going to say it's over at that point. I don't know, but it'll be bad. We might, at that point, if something positive doesn't happen on the 20th, that could mean we've got to go through a lot more to get out of this. And who knows how long that might be. This is a chance to sort it out, or was a chance. It's still a chance to sort it out right up until the 20th. And if it's not, then it could be.
We're the same with all these things with espionage, Tom. It's like all it takes is, it's like anyone that says that conspiracy, all it is it's like you go to court, it's like conspiracy to commit whatever. But if you've got people working behind the scenes, it just takes one of their guys to take out one of our guys, or whatever it is, and happen not quite work, and you don't get the result you want. So, you've got to hope that things going behind the scenes are actually getting things done. But there's so much, I mean, the brainwashing of people, and
so that was the other thing,
making them scared of each other. This
that I'd really like to talk about as well, that I think is a bit different to probably, because a lot, like I said, and all the videos are great that I'm hearing, but we're obviously hearing some of the same things, but particularly dealing with the brainwashing and just things that I noticed that I don't hear other people talking about. And through adverts and TV, what they keep doing is using this sort of like jingly sort of happy music. You always see it on Instagram when you see like someone selling like a face cream or a healthy dog's bowl where it makes them eat slowly or something. But it's always the same sort of music, this happy sort of children's sort of friendly music. And they always use, in England, they always use Northerners, and it's usually women that have got this sort of jolly Northern accent, and they'll be saying it. And what you have to do is kind of go, right, remember that they are talking in that voice for a reason. They're playing this music for a reason. You've got to sort of look, what is the actual message here? Because it's incredible what they do. The Lloyd's TSB advert of like showing, it makes me sick. It's like showing a pregnant walking along a beach, and then there's like horses running, and I see it like now and then, and it says by your side, and I'm like, by my side to see if I go overdrawn, so you can get a load of extra money out of me. But that's what it is. It's really.
Mate, I've done it. All the adverts on TV. It's just advertising 101. I said to people, when the people start to realise the world's run on emotion and not fact, people start to wake up. Like all the adverts, whenever you see an advert for any beer, chocolate, sweets, whatever it may be, they never talk about the product. They talk about how that product makes you feel. And what you said there, the voice that they use, the music they're using, they're not going into anything, and they're trying to make it normal for you, to associate happy feelings with wearing a mask, happy feelings with being social distanced, happy feelings with taking a deadly disease.
Saying it
and vaccine.
While they're saying it all nice and friendly to you, when it's really, obviously, really negative. It's a really negative thing that's not good for anyone. It's that. I'm trying to think that it's not just of how else it is. It's just in society. It's and the biggest thing that we've got now is that it's bringing out the worst in people, and lots of people love to exercise a little bit of control over others. And this is allowing people to do that. And we know that a lot of people join the police force for that reason. And obviously there's some really good police officers as well. But we know that a lot of people...
But some of the things,
where they can do
some
that.
of the things you've seen with that have been disgusting. Go ahead, mate. I was just going to say, some of the things I've seen along those lines have been disgusting. Some of the videos I've seen, like for protesting, like arresting people for walking, even running. Now I saw someone saying you can't run because you're breathing heavily.
Yeah, exactly. It's a psyop. It's psychological warfare, and I think, like you said earlier, you were saying something about the way people won't believe it, and there's this sort of there's this overcoat of smarmy sort of humour that we get in England. They sort of have it in America to a degree as well. It's probably more prevalent in New York, I think, but it's this sort of slightly I'm intellectual and slightly smarmy humour that is encouraged. And because, like, I've sent it to some people, and some people have like sent me back like a meme that is kind of funny, but at the same time I'm like, yeah, this isn't funny though. This is what is going on. It's always like pushing a bit of humour in again, like I think like you just said, to make it seem normal and friendly and it's all okay. But that's being used a lot. That there's this sort of yeah, it is. It's kind of, and you've got these words that they've now really got, and you probably struggle with this one as well, is they just use the line anti-vaxxer. And as soon as you know, it's such a nightmare that as soon as they've said that to you, you're straight away sort of got to dig yourself out of that one first, because you've got to go, right, well, I've got to now stop what I'm saying and now say, but like this, and explain that reason. It's derailing you, and it's really
just say no. I'm anti.
Sorry, mate, I didn't. It went a bit.
I would say no. Just say no. Sorry, I'm just anti-stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They throw these words. COVID denial.
They're the two that they love. Those two phrases are just thrown around, and obviously as soon as.
Or is it anti-vaxxer and what, Tom? Anti-vaxxer.
A flat earther is the other one.
Oh right, yeah.
And
5.
What's the last one?
5G nut job.
Or just tin hats. That's the other one. It's all of these phrases. It's just I mean, it's even funny to hear it, but it's there's so and they know that those are powerful words, because if someone possibly hears something from you or I and then goes and tells their relatives, well, I've heard this, and they go, well, that's a bit tin hat. It's already tarnished it with that sort of that sort of look.
That just tells me that they're fully asleep, though, Tom. Just say, oh, so you don't use your brain then? You've been told what to think and not how to think. Like, because if there's the research that we read, it's like you, Tom, you can't afford to be wrong. If your products aren't good or you don't sell something that's bad, your customers will let you know. I can't afford to be wrong. If I'm telling my clients it doesn't work, I live and die by the sword. A lot of people giving these opinions out. I've got no.
Yeah.
So what's your day job? I work in Tesco's. Cool. We'll probably stick to that and leave me with helping people heal and overcome illnesses, because I've been in this game for 12 years and you've been in it for 2 minutes and you've been listening to the mainstream media give you a clue. You might not know what you want about. I'll give you a little clue. And it's like, you don't want to be like that, but sometimes people need to be told. It's like, how about you stick to, it's like getting into people controlling you online. It's like, what are you doing, mate? Like, haven't you got anything better to do with your life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very, very difficult. I just can't engage with any of that. I think shortly after the vaccine was announced, I think that's the one time I've done it in the last few years. I think I got in a thread of comments on a BBC post, and I shouldn't have done it. And I kept my cool for a while. It was quite a good lesson, I suppose, in like how to deal with people. But usually when you're right, people then stop replying. But I've noticed a lot of people, they tend to react by sending emojis of laughing faces when you tell the truth or you say something. And that's their way of dealing with it. And it is, like we were talking about the brainwashing earlier, and I think you mentioned like the emasculation of people, of men really, I should say. but it's almost like this sort of childlike humour comes out, this childlike behaviour that's really like, what's going on here? I thought we're having an adult conversation and you're sending me laughing emojis. It's like, that's your response. But it's leaning back to humour and trying to make us sort of make light of it. So yeah, that's where I think on brainwashing, and I think that we have all been conditioned to a degree on certain things, but we can break out them. But how do we reach people that aren't part of any of this circle, don't know anyone in this circle, and probably are the masses? And the only answer to that, I think, at the moment is because we're not going to get anything published on television. And we're getting more and more deplatformed from all of these social media sites and YouTube and whatnot. So we've really got to hope, and I think this is probably true of quite a few empires. I think even with the Mayans and the Aztecs, is that they'll fuck it up themselves. And that's what I think is probably going to happen here. And I think that possibly this whole purge they've done of free speech could be the catalyst for that event. Because I think they've really, like I said earlier, they've shown their colours and they've exercised their power a bit too much. And as you probably know, you mentioned with Parler, that Parler was the fastest growing app in the world. It was number one until they deplatformed it. But did you hear today, there's a couple of other positive news, not just the Telegram Messenger one, but one of the guys originally involved in the World Wide Web, he's talking about setting up a whole separate internet now because he believes that it's completely gone too far. Let me, because I posted it around this morning.
I saw an article that he wrote, and it was back in 2018 though. So I don't know if he'd done anything since.
Yeah, this one was this is pretty recent because of obviously what's going on. Let me see. Yeah, Tim Berners-Lee. Yeah, well, and obviously people are talking to Elon Musk about doing it, and apparently he is on the side of good, and that makes sense to me, and I get the intuition that.
Well, he has put 40,000 satellites in the air, Tom.
Some people don't believe in satellites.
What do they? No, I was saying. Well, apparently he's put 40,000.
Yeah.
I think they're satellites.
What do I think? I don't know enough about it, to be honest. Yeah.
But if he's on the side of good, it's like it's what I was talking about before about the websites you were reading. I don't know. I just recently watched again David Icke. Watched some of it. It's like the Lions. The Lion Sleeps No More, and it was from 2012. And he's literally 7-hour lecture, and he's literally going through every single bit that we're going through.
Yeah.
And he's been saying it for years, and he's literally pinpointing everything, talking about how the consciousness is rising, we have to go through dark times, what's happening, what they're looking to do. Everything he says is what's happening now, and it's like, and it's just like, yeah.
I don't listen to David Icke anymore. I didn't see enough solutions, and I've seen him live a couple of times actually, but he was in Colchester in 2018, so just down the road I saw him. That was the Children of the Matrix or something. I think it was written in 2000 was the first one. And that's part of the story of watching everything that was said. And the worst thing, I don't really want to go into depth about it, but I remember at one point, there were loads of things in the books in those times that I believed. And when it got to sort of satanic child abuse, I was like, well, this is ridiculous. I can get with that, but this is getting really stupid. And lots of it was about Bill Clinton. And then now to have seen, I think it's probably 15 years later to go, oh my God, it's not only is that true, it's far worse than that. Far worse.
Well,
it's far deeper.
Well, this This is what people say about Alex Jones, mate, when he talks. He's labelled a nutcase, and Joe Rogan said recently on his podcast, he had him when he said, problem is with Alex Jones is 95% of what he says is right and it comes true. So you look at him in that case, but then it's like this. If someone said to you like 18 months ago, this is going to happen, you call him a lunatic. And it's like, he's been living in this world a long time. Now, obviously, people think control opposition and certain
Yeah,
things.
I always remember
A lot of what he says comes true. And
when I watched Endgame, and I always remembered because I was really into my travelling when I watched that, and I was spending sort of 6 months a year, going off around sort of other countries and backpacking and whatnot. And I remember the thing that really stuck me, because that was part of my life at the time, was the restriction of travel, that's what they would do. And I thought, oh God, how would they make that? And I think, not that I was ever like this, but I certainly think that you can be lulled into the thing of going, well, if I've got a business, I can still afford to do things, and maybe they're just going to, because as we know, that it's a playground for the super rich. But if you do well in the past, in the old system, life does get easier when you start doing well financially. But then, and I always used to think, well, how is this? Is it just going to become so expensive that people don't travel? Just like houses become so expensive. It's not that it's illegal to own a house, but it becomes so expensive that people just can't buy them anymore. But never ever did I think that this would be the case, especially as there were so many failed, terrible viruses before, like the Ebola scare and things like that never got off the ground. So they were drills. They were something. But I never thought that this would happen, and I never thought it would be so quick. And that was the biggest shock of this. It isn't a shock that it happened. It's a shock that all this has happened in one and so swiftly. That's the only real shock that I've got over it, other than the disbelief that everyone is so brainwashed. I thought more people were a bit more savvy than this. But that's not.
well, I remember you sending me a message. No, I remember you sending me a message about probably a few months ago saying, "Mate, I can't believe how many people are still asleep. Like, I need to start waking people up." And I was like, "Mate, trust me," because we talk. I said before about people. I'm an entrepreneur, same as you, and you're surrounded by people that are in that sort of world. But when you step outside of it, lots of people. When I go on dates with girls, I talk to them about stuff, and they're like, "What, really?" I'm like, "This is what I'm dealing with. This is the average person. They don't know.
Yeah.
They haven't got a clue, because they're too busy, like watching Love Island or soaps or whatever. They go to work, and then that's what they do. They don't listen to anything else, and why would they?" And now the information is not even going to be 10, even 5 years ago. The information was freely on both sides. Now they literally, the big tech platforms, mate, what's the stat I saw? 95, 96% of people use Google. So like they literally just, I said to someone the other day, if you want the truth, hint, turn off the TV, turn off the wireless, because otherwise you're just going to be like, and unfortunately people saying it, didn't they? Google it. It's a term, Google it, not quant it or DuckDuckGo it. And this is the problem we've got. We're going to be fighting against a monopolised thing.
It took me, it really is easy.
Against for a long time.
It took me probably, I think when I first moved over to DuckDuckGo, I kept Google, then I deleted Google, and then I thought, well, DuckDuckGo isn't always great on some of these things because Google finds like whether B&Q's open so quickly and the numbers there. And then, so it did take me a couple of weeks, but then after I got Google back and I was like, no, delete it. And now it's been gone for quite a while. It does take time. It took a bit of planning to delete WhatsApp, to message everybody, and not everyone saw it or replied to say I'm moving over to Telegram, and then people go, oh, it's probably just as bad there, and then you have to explain, no, look, it's okay there, they don't do this and this, it's all right, and yeah. But
have you got WhatsApp completely now?
Sorry?
Have you come off WhatsApp completely now?
Yeah, deleted it. Yeah, that's gone. That and Google, and I'm still on Facebook Messenger, but that is next. So
yeah,
in 2 weeks. Tell me that I said I'd be off.
Hey, that's what we're going to be doing. Which is the thing. Well, this is the thing for someone like me. I built up an audience on Insta, I built up an audience on Facebook,
Yeah, we've got
and
5,000
so
followers on Facebook. So, and someone said, "Well, why are you on here?" The other day, when I said that the media and social media, the mainstream news on TV, newspapers, and social media are the most dangerous threat to our health, freedom, and spirit. And people said, "Why are you on here then? If you think that?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to
because you
message until they throw me off. I'm going to keep
because
getting
you're
more,
on here.
you know." And while I'm still on there and why it's still reaching people, I'm gonna use it. And,
That's the thing. It's reaching people, Tom. Is it? What we're going to do? We're going to try and put together. I spoke to Tom Barnett about this. We're going to try and put together influencers, get them all on a Zoom call, and all decide what platform we're going to go on, and then tell our followers. That way, we can all be on one platform. Because I don't think it can't be part. I'm on Parler already.
yeah, I was. Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be active. Well, so I think Gab's the new one. Also, the other thing is, Tom, I'm looking into it. I don't know if you looked into it. Is I'm going to be getting a privacy phone, which is brilliant. I've got a company I've been talking to, and they literally no terms and conditions. Everything's private. No following you. No tracking you. It's bang on. So I'll be looking into that, and I'll be sending that on to.
Maybe think of something that I want to ask your opinion on. So, what do you think is going to happen? Say that the status quo doesn't really change. Do you think that it's going to be about people like you and I adapting and moving into like another way of life within this ridiculous system that they've got going? Or do you think that could you accept life like that? I remember you said to me, you said come out to where, I think it was the first trip you did before this one, and you said just come out, and you said you could, we'll all just get out of England and go on a boat. There's these islands. Do you think that you're more down the route of going, right, at this point to think it's fucked, we might as well just splinter off into a different society of being the ones that know and realise what's going on and don't want to be part of it? Or do we hang around here and try and tell everyone? What one do you think at the moment? I mean, I kind of, to be honest, go through both, but I just wondered what you thought.
So ideally, I'd say if more people woke up, I'd stay there and fight, but I don't see it happening. And it just seems like even with common law and certain things you can put in place, I've seen people go. So it's certain things that I've done with common law recently. I had two parking tickets come through, and I went for this common law, get us back. And they try and do things. There's certain things you can do with foundations, and certain things you can do with your business. But it comes to a point when it gets to the top, they'll be like, well, you might be right, but we won't let you in. And if they get their technocracy in, or what do we call it? Technocracy? Technological democracy, or they call it that, but it's not. They'll be ruled by machines and stuff. Then, hopefully, it all opens back up. And if it does, then I definitely would back and fight. But it's the thing. Life's really good out here. Why the hell would I be under that stress? And my business, I set it up online on purpose so I could work from anywhere, and get messages out. Look, I wanted to move to California for a few years, at least. That's gone now. I just don't see it unless things drastically change in the next week, and then people wake up over the next 6 months. This is why we've got community of people out here. We've got like 20 people. And I've been saying to people all the time, anyone who's in my life, that we live somewhere all together, and if we need to move from here, we can go to somewhere like we're looking at the Cayman Islands or Kitts and Nevis, or there'll always be places. Whenever they try and stop freedom, there'll always be countries. The lady we've had a lady. My mum's had a lady for years that does her feet. She was from Ukraine. She left. Her dad was put in the gulags. She left the Ukraine, got out of there 20 years ago. Just out there, then she got through. She's been telling me the story of it, like they had to do certain things, managed to get out of there and never come back. And they run away from communism, and that they run away from communism, and this is what we're doing, in essentially, because you can stand there and fight, but so many that if we got everyone out here, like everyone I know who's like this from around the world, and we all lived in a certain area, Tom, we create a banging community that people want to be part of.
I mean, we could even sort of have this conversation 2 years ago, because society was already getting to that point anyway before all of this happened. If nothing had happened with the flu, anyway, it was already so under control with the speed cameras, with all the new technology that was coming out for face recognition and all that sort of stuff. I probably would have travelled a lot more if the airports weren't so horrible. I mean, that's just such a terrible experience going through an airport. So there was all these things within society popular for people to go off grid, and now it's just been exasperated even more. So,
well, the thing is of it is that there's only certain countries that can implement this, because there's only certain countries that got enough money. To become Mexico, they haven't got the infrastructure to do all these things. It's the same in certain countries around the world, and there'll always be playgrounds for the rich, right? And so if you get a community of people as well, and we all live somewhere, we're all around teaching, learning from each other. This is what we do with this community out here. We don't talk about people. We talk about like investing in health and what's going on and how we can move forward, where we can maybe go, like talking about taxes and all these things that we're talking about. It's like a completely different world. And so I'm very much prepared not to come back to England for a few years. I mean, if we've got weddings weddings and things like that, then yes, if I can, I'll come back. But they've said that you need to have a test. I mean, we can get around that. That's not a problem. But I'm very much prepared to not. I don't want to live in a tyrannical place when I could live somewhere that's free. I mean, everyone's on the beach here. Everyone's in the restaurants. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's walking. It's not.
Yeah, I'd go. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not attached to being in England. But yeah, absolutely. But again, yes.
Well, the thing is, Tom, all your friends and family there, aren't they? Sorry, mate. Say that again. I was just saying, all your friends and family there. So it can be poor for people, but at the end of the day, what's more important to you, freedom or that? But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's the waking up part. I think that people they're so in your face now. I'm going to say that I think that there is going to be a downfall because although we do see how many people are like very sheepishly following all this, I'll tell you one interesting little fact. I went to like an ethnic store that I think it was a tyre shop somewhere just outside of London a little while ago, and I didn't have my mask on with me in there, and she said, "Oh yeah, don't worry." And I think she looked at me a little bit funny behind the counter, and she said, "Oh well, look, don't worry about the mask," because someone else sort of looked at me there, and she went. She was from Thailand, and she said, "Well, I'm from Thailand." She goes, "We've had all this before with SARS, so we sort of know how to deal with it all and whatnot." It's like blah blah blah, and she seemed a little bit offish. I first thought she doesn't like that I'm not wearing a mask, and then she was being a bit like, "Oh, we've had COVID, we've had SARS in Thailand, and we know how to deal with this." And I just openly said, to be honest, I don't believe any of this. I think it's just a massive load of lies. And just the relief that I could see on her face when I said that, and she went, "Oh, yes, it's like this," and I went, "Yeah, look, it's some bastardized version of communism," and she was like, and she was so excited. She'd obviously been in this shop for like months, and finally someone had said the truth to her, and it gave her the chance to say it. And I think how many people are feeling that, and I've got friends that are married to people that believe it all, and they don't. So there's real tensions like that. That's a big.
Mate, 100%. I've been having lots of calls, even with my clients. It's been going on that, and I said to people, mate, every time you don't wear a mask, you empower someone else to not wear one. Every time you talk out, you empower someone else to do the same. This is why I do think we win in the end. I'm over here just because I don't want to be in the dark in the winter in England, and we'll see how things go. And I always, whenever there's people trying to stop your freedom, there's always other people out there trying to. They said that Trip and Pin was stop fraud, did it gangsters know what to do. It's the same as like they try and put certain things in place. There'll be other people out there helping you get in, and I know that in my heart, I know we win this. Okay, I know we win it. I don't know when, but we will win it. Light always conquers dark.
Yeah, that's totally with you.
But the thing is, like every time you don't wear a mask, every time you don't wear a mask, every time you stand up and speak out about it, every time you just holding your power and you don't let them get to you, it inspires someone else to do the same. This is why I keep.
Maybe next time she'll go, fuck it, I'll say what I think to the next person as well. Just be brave. What's the worst that could happen?
The thing is with shop owners, it's like they have to be careful because there's probably more people that don't believe it. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, exactly. You're online, so you're okay. You can have these views. You're online.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But
if I had a shop, Tom, and if you had a shop, I'm pretty sure that we would. I mean, if I would.
We'd be no masks allowed, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Hugging the door, I think. Yeah.
They tried to put up a thing saying they're trying to put up a pass. Apparently, they talked in private a day or two, stopping people from even speaking to each other on the streets or in supermarkets. And only been out once a day, and I was like, that's it. Hugs, kisses, fucking communication with everyone you see. It's the only way out of this. You've got to be that vibration. You've just got to raise the vibration. Play good music and be calm and be relaxed and be the change you want to see.
Because obviously, I'll just be honest about this, that I saw this video. It's been going around of a chap that went through the underground, and some other guy in an annoying voice said, "Oh, he hasn't got a mask on," and the guy turned around and punched this guy in the face. And I must admit that did feel good to see, but also that is not the reaction, because I actually did this. It's happened a couple of times, and I was in Sainsbury's and I got real evil, and the guy said, "Oh, thanks," sarcastically, obviously, "thanks for doing your part." And then in the same Sainsbury's, a month later, I went in there, same thing happens again, and I got asked to put my mask on, and I said, "I tell you what," because I do keep it with me, and I said, "I'll put it on if you just give me 30 seconds of your time." And then I just reeled off as quick as I could. I don't know if it worked, but I reeled off as quick as I could some of the sort of the typical facts that we use, always use their own facts, because their own story pulls the whole story apart. But the point is that it's, especially when you know so much about what's really going on and different theories, when you're confronted with people like that and they're being like that, it's so easy to slip into anger or to go, "Oh, you're brainwashed," or "You don't know this." We've really got to sort of go, "Wait, hang on a second, let's be passionate to them and just try and think, what could be effective here? What little truth seed could I give them, or something that they might think about?"
Oh, 100%.
So it's like I said, see that
screaming at No, you're right, mate. I saw a grown woman screaming at a little kid the other day on the thing. And I was thinking, no, but it's easy. I had it in Mexico City. I only had one person scream at me, "Put your mask on." The smart thing is, "Put your mask on." So that's it, and that was it. And I was just like, it's just like he's losing his shit, And it's like, it's just funny. It's just funny. So this is where we have to try and take that. But when everyone's screaming, the thing is, if someone's screaming at you, and you try and calm down to speak to them, they're so in the limbic brain, they're out of their mind. So it's like trying to talk to a.
And I know myself, when I've lost my temper in the past, someone telling you to calm down or chill out when you're sort of high on adrenaline like that, or saying it just doesn't work. So you're better off, letting them blow it off really, and then try and sort of, it's very difficult. Everybody's very different, but you need to, again, it's like talking about earlier about being social. You need to be good with people, and if you can have a little bit of a goal perhaps in your mind when that situation comes up, that the idea should be to try and make them feel good, but also give them a bit of truth that might work. Because in my life, I've noticed no more truer saying than most people would rather be right than happy. That is, you know.
Oh, right, then happy, yeah. Well, Tom, I use the because I can't bother to sit there and argue with a lot of people. I just use the face mark exempt card, and it's just easy. But in this, if someone ever asks, "Oh, well, what's the matter with you?" I say, "Well, what's your sex life like?" They'd be like, "What?" I say, "Well, you're asking me personal questions. I'll ask you some." And it's just like, it's just humour. And I say I don't need to wear it. Even over here, I just held it up and had a thing typed out in Spanish. When I went through the airport, and so like this wage right because you can't bother to sit there. It just nullifies any arguments. You can't bother to have arguments with people. So it's just like, there you go, cheers, and no one can argue with you then because humans are still human. Robots. So when you do say to them, it's like there's a study that if you went to a queue and you went to the front and you asked someone, can I come in front of you? Even with no other explanation, I think it was something like 10-12% of people said yes. When you're to the front of the queue and you're like, oh, can I cut in please because I've got to get some medication for my mum and she's in the car, something like 96% of people said yes. Because you're still dealing with humans, who are, the majority of people are good people. So when you say to them, I actually have a problem and stuff like that, and you try to talk to them, I was really dumbfounded. I was in Mexico City going back before Christmas. We came across 3 police who Scottish guys. I was like, what are you doing out here? Got down to it, they were policemen. They were extraditing someone from Mexico back to Scotland, someone he'd arrested. And and he was saying all the right things. I was like, right. I said, you're saying a few of the right things here, mate. So I'm just going to go in and just say what I think. And all 3 of them were like, yeah, this is tyrannical government. We can't believe what we're being told to do. Like a lot of the Scottish police in Glasgow and not what they've been told to do because we don't believe in it. This is a police state in any state. This has gone far too far. Like if you ring up and someone tells us that someone's had more than 6 people in their house, we're just going to laugh at you. And I was like, mate, these are all the best. These are all the right things. But it seems like a lot of other policemen, you get them out there that want people to go and, almost like the police state, that film they've been put out, Songbird, or series that are coming out, if you've seen it, where it talks about which, or they try and give you preemptive warning of these things. But it was quite a positive thing that they knew what was going on. But still, the thing is, it's one thing that Ike does say. It's like, why are you then fulfilling these mandates? And they're like, well, it's my job. Well, it's like, we'll get another job then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Being a good human and having society where you want it to be become more important than the job you're getting paid. It's not like you're earning millions from being a policeman. You can go out and do something else.
Well, yeah, I was even thinking a little while ago that all the crooks and the gangsters, they're all stuck indoors as well now. So maybe they're all thinking, well, this is no fun. So they're probably on the same part of it. It's kind of, in a way, probably hopefully bringing some unity to the people that have had enough of it. And I'm sure that a lot of
this is what.
Go on.
Well, yeah, no. What I was going to say is, no, you're right. I was going to say I can't believe they're letting it happen because over here they said no, it's not happening. And over here, this is why cash will never go over here. Like cash is massive over here. Hardly anyone uses cards. Yeah, we use part of society. And as you said, musicians, gangsters, all these people. I'm surprised that they've let this happen. I'm surprised they've even let this go. As far as it has.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, the gloves are off. That's what I really think is the stage we're at now. Because I think that probably let's call them the powers that be. I think that they feel. I know they've been scared, but I think also they feel they're in a bit of a home run now. They're on the victory lap, and that is the time when they're really making mistakes. And I really think this is too far what they've done with the social media, because more and more people are aware of it now than ever. They already knew it was bad, but now it's gone mainstream. And there was a really interesting thing that was, it wasn't Bill Clinton. It was Bill Clinton. He was confronted about Bohemian Grove. This was years and years ago, probably like sort of early 2000s. And when someone said, "So you've been to the Bohemian Club?" and he said, "Oh, that's that club where they sacrifice children and dress up as devils and things, isn't it?" And the whole room just laughed, and the guy's question gets just ignored, obviously. But they're getting more and more arrogant, and they're exercising their power more and more. And whatever you think about Trump, I don't think it's really, you don't need to think about him. It's the team that he's on. It's the military operation that he was part of, is part of. But whatever you think of them, that is really what I think is the side of good. But they think now that the other side thinks that they're on the victory lap and it's all going through. And obviously there is some sort of plan, but unfortunately we don't know what it is. And we're all sitting here on the edge of our seats, and I mean, like everybody I know, all of us are just like, talking. Lots of friends, I sometimes speak to them once every month or two, and I talk to them every day now. And some people ask me about, "Oh, do you want to come?" Even though it's lockdown, we don't care. "Do you want to come over and watch a film? Or do you want to come over and have a smoke or something?" And I'm like, well, to be honest, at the moment, all I'm doing is just checking every news site and every video and going around talking to people as much as I can, because there's nothing more important than this at the moment. And although a lot of people have got theories, there is a lot of truth, and what they've said is the certain scenarios, one of them is possible. So sort of tapping into your intuition and thinking what's going to happen. And I'm really going to say that I am optimistic. I personally think that Trump is going to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and things might go a bit crazy for a little while.
So this is where I'm like, I don't know if it's all this fugazi, it's left versus right, if it's all an illusion. Then you've got people like Simon Parkes talking about that. This is the thing, they've made it so a lot of people think that Trump's the bad guys, but it's like, well, because he comes out and says it how it is, he's like the father figure that the West very much needs, instead of like, what's the quote I heard? It's like, when everything's going on, their mum being the leader, but when things go badly, you want dad, right? Or when it hits the fan, you want dad. And it's like, there's a great book out there called "Good Times Create," "Strong Men Create Good Times," and it's a quote of.
Well, I think hard times create strong men.
That's it. Hard times create strong men, and it goes, yeah. Strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And at a time of like weak men creating hard times, a lot of things.
Yeah, this is that cycle.
Masculinity is under threat. And so him being there, and if what they say is going to happen, and he does pull through, and he has got the military's back in, and they never back Joe Biden, and a lot of things have come out about Hunter Biden. The images are so shocking, and then actually, the mainstream, they're going to be able to broadcast stuff. If that happens, and he has another term, there's going to be fucking.
As well, I've heard that he might also, the information that it was made in Wuhan at the lab, that might be released as well. And I think I said to my friend this morning, I said that's an easier pill for people to swallow than if he came out and said they're a pedo network and here's the evidence, because I think people might be too shocked by it, loads of that. So I think maybe everybody is affected by the flu, and that might be a good one to use. I think that could be a possible thing, and then you've got all of the links. I might be right, I might be wrong, but that's a possible scenario.
The thing is, Tom, though, you can think critically because you've been in this one. You're healthy enough. This is the other thing people don't understand. Most people aren't even healthy enough to think properly. Okay, their body is your brain can be constantly eating toxic food, in state of being exposed to too many EMFs, not getting enough sleep, not drinking enough water, they don't exercise. This is why Aristotle made his students train with the wrestling like exercise, you can't be healthy in this way. So all these things that we do, and we can think clearly, and it's no, I say to people all the time, how can you look past the fact that every single natural health website, therapists, etc., are all singing on the same hymn sheet, yeah, all saying the same things? How can you look past that when you pharma there? And it's Google. Google are actually a pharma, a big pharma, and they're actually a pharmacological company now. Back in 2019, their parent company Alphabet was a pharma company. Google's actually got a pharmaceutical to it. So this is why they're taking all their natural health remedies and stuff. And so when you're talking about that, and they make billions every year, this is what people don't realise. And it's like, if all the healthiest people in the world don't take medication, they eat well, they sleep, they hydrate, they take essential supplements, they do certain things, maybe it's time to listen to them, because these people actually got a brain that actually works rather than these people that haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also just the frame of mind as well. All of that, just sort of, staying positive.
100%.
Did you see an article that I put up on Facebook about a month ago that 50 million adults in England? No, sorry, there's 50 million adults in England, not the UK. This is England. 50 million adults, 6 million of those are on prescribed antidepressants. And then we know that probably there's another huge amount that are probably trying a natural alternative. Then there's another huge amount of people that are just doing nothing and think, yeah, I'm depressed and I should do something about it. And then there's others that just numb it with alcohol or booze or something. So really, it's quite frightening when you think 6 million of 50 million that are actually prescribed antidepressants. So how many adults in England are actually in poor mental health?
Mate, there was also a psychiatrist that come out, a leading quote unquote psychiatrist, come out and said that everyone should be on antidepressants. It's like, oh my God, the only thing you're leading the world in is stupidity. The only thing you're leading the world in is stupidity. With up comes down, with night comes day, with water comes fire. There's opposites. You wouldn't know joy unless you experience sorrow, and vice versa. And these people are just so much like they're pain. Like some people say to you, if you're anti-vaxxer, you indirectly kill people. It's like, oh my God, no, you indirectly kill people. Your things have been shown to kill tens of thousands a year. Like this is, and don't talk to me. So
you've got to be careful how I say this.
So how can these people even think that?
I've got to be careful how I say this, but I said to someone the other day that if we could find out where all the vaccines are actually being stored and maybe, let's just say, set fire to that building, we know that you'd be the greatest hero ever, but then you'd actually probably be done as mass murderer, Tom Stavely or something, that actually just vaccines and all these people died. But Guy Fawkes is a villain.
Well, yeah, mate, that's what I was going to say. I keep on getting taken in by this background. I'm going to need to get one of these. Do you sell these in pictures or in blankets or anything like that, or throws?
Mouse nets or mugs. No, we.
It's really beautiful.
I've got a few different versions, but that's the unit. See, I'm sitting in front of it, but that's the unit. It's quite cool.
But the colours it's slightly changed. It's like you can purples and the modes.
Yeah. Send me your logo at some point. I can design one for you if you want. So just tell me what you want.
Oh, awesome, mate. Yeah. They're brilliant. They're perfect. I mean, talk about that as well because we'll be getting on. So I want to get on to you got some new stuff there as well with the Powdarco face cream. I always use Powdarco in tea form every day, but I saw you got some the cream that looks like it's like a winner. I think I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, it's nice. Such a nice smell as well. Yeah, I'm actually using it. I actually use the moment of our ones. I'm actually using all of our ones pretty much now. I'm using the avocado night cream. That's really nice. Sounds. Never thought I'd be saying this. And then I use this elderflower eye gel. That's really nice. And I've really got into it. It's elderflower.
Elderflower what, Tom?
Eye gel. So it's like a cooling gel that you put sort of around your eyes. But being living a life more indoors at the moment than I would like to, I've just been trying these sort of things out. And yeah, the Powdiarco cream is really good. It's antifungal and It's got the properties of Powdiarco. But
Yeah.
you've probably seen that some people talked about making poultices of Powdiarco. That's like a sort of skin wrap sort of thing. So it's got all those benefits to it, but a nice scent to it as well. I really like. Yeah, that's really cool. And talking of interesting scents, have you ever had durian? Have you, when you've been travelling? Have you ever tried that?
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
No, what is it? Is it a plant?
Massive spiky fruit that comes like that, and it's sort of oh, you got to get into it. It's I don't think it's in Mexico. I think it's in the Far East. Probably could grow in Mexico, but it's definitely not from there. And you open it up, and durian is it's a hot fruit that is almost like it's a meal on its own. It's got everything in it. It's really known as the king of the fruits, but because you can't really import it to other countries, and the biggest problem is the smell of it. It's such a strong smell. I don't mind it, but most people find that quite off-putting. You're not allowed to take it into hotels and eat it on the public transport because of the smell of it. So and you see that everywhere.
Really?
It's big in Thailand and Malaysia, I think, as well. It's big there. But we've got a durian fruit powder. That was where I was getting to with that.
What you have, like the monk fruit powder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like the dragon powder. Yeah. Okay, nice. So, do you deliver to Mexico?
Ooh. Funnily enough, we're on Amazon Mexico, talking of evil Amazon, and it's another thing. I don't like that we sell on Amazon, but unfortunately, we try with our orders to get, and we're cheaper on our website as well. We're always trying to get people, but we got caught by Amazon because we were putting these little flyers in the boxes saying, come to the website and we'll give you this discount. I think we still got a flyer that does that. So we're trying to get people off of Amazon, but it's like Facebook. You've got to sort of use it, but we're on Amazon Mexico. So I think some of our stuff is actually in Mexico at the moment, which is quite funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So so if I wanted to get try some of this stuff out, then you can send me some.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're sending stuff over there. Mongolia, we did an order to there. I think one of the Timor Islands is the weirdest one. That's one of those islands below. It's part of Indonesia, but yeah, it's very what's the word? Isolated little area of the world. So yeah, no problem.
So I want to try these, and then I'll put them on my site if I like them and prove, which I'm sure I will.
I just randomly was looking at some orders earlier and saw someone had ordered a couple of things and put you down as the reference. That's obviously still coming through, so it's cool. It works.
Oh mate, I get. Well, I always mention you on my podcasts. I always mention the people companies that I work, supplements that I use, the companies that I recommend. I only recommend things that I use myself, and there's a reason why we look, without being arrogant, like the way we do and feel the way we do is because we only put things in our mouth and in our body that are actually healthy and are pure. You shouldn't be putting anything on your skin that because your body absorbs it. So I've got your lavender essential oils here. I switch between you guys and essential oil wizardry, and they're nice.
Got my all-time favourite there, sulphur.
Yeah.
And then,
that's actually. I'll give you when we jump off the call, Tom. I'll have a little chat with you. In fact, let's just end it here now. Go on.
Got this in it. We don't sell this. I just got it in an Indian ethnic shop. So, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Is that vitamin C?
Vitamin C, vitamin A. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, it's got some other things in it.
So
very good.
Where did you find it?
I got it in a little Indian shop, I think it was somewhere in Hertfordshire when I was out and about, when I shouldn't have been. So, always finding stuff like that. But yeah, the sulphur's the old classic. But yeah, what have you got with? Did you take some stuff with you then? Did you while you were travelling?
Yeah. I've got I've got Echinacea, milk thistle. I've got your iodine. I've got some mass enzymes, some probiotics, got powdered Darko tea and Quadrupedra and cat's claw. I always take things like that with me. And then I've just made a little order. I've ordered a few things from a different website, just in terms of some colostrum and some collagen.
Have you tried this? I've got this. I'm looking for a decent colostrum. I haven't even tried it, but this one is. Do you see that?
Can't see it.
I like colostrum. That is.
I haven't tried that one. No, the one I bought is the one I usually buy. But I've got the other thing. It's I think it's called Blue Ice from Green Pastures. It's the fish. It's really, you know that it's like the fish oil, coconut oil, the butter oil infused with lavender and orange.
Nice.
So I use that. Yeah, there's a little health shop out here, but they just don't sell certain things that I want. So I've got a few things coming as well.
Just realised, try the, if you can, see if you can try some nopal cactus while you're out there, because that's awesome, really, really good. We sell that in powder, and it comes from Mexico. But yeah, that's
noble cactus.
Nopal with a P. So no, it's like a pink fruit that grows on the cactus, and it's like that's dried, and then but you can get it in ice creams and things out there. But if you don't know what it's called, you don't know. I don't know if the Mexican name for it is nopal, but that's what we know.
Is it sweet?
Yeah, the fruit powder is okay. Funny enough, I don't know if you're having a drink or anything out there. That's really good for hangovers. It's just the sort of natural in it are really good. It's not been proven to be really helpful if you have a celebratory night or something.
Yeah. I mean, not really doing too much. I had a couple occasionally when it's like New Year's and stuff, but yeah, nothing mad. Nothing mad. But mate, yeah, what I'll do, I'll try some stuff. But just to end this before we can jump off and have a little chat off air, to what we were talking about, Tom.
You cut out there for a second.
I said just so we can jump offline and have a little chat, but just wanted to finish up the podcast. Just wanted to actually ask you anything you wanted to add to our conversation about what we were talking about before we wrap up.
No, I think that we're in the last stages. I think it would have been a completely different conversation if we'd have spoke 2 days ago, because things are changing every single day. More information is coming out, and then things are said, and information is going around, and we're getting so close here to something happening, and it's everything will be all right, but it's a case of when. And like I said, I really believe that, like all empires, they will ruin it themselves. They'll make the mistakes, and they will fall apart. That's one scenario. Or they take a big hit on the 20th, and there's a different scenario to what the mainstream media are telling everybody, and some information comes out, and it forces people to wake up. Because I always think that people can handle the truth, and someone said to me the other day, going, "Oh, well, they can't say all that, it'll be too much for people." And I go, well, just remember that Jimmy Savile was a children's TV presenter, and everyone thought he was great and nice and everything. And overnight, he was the biggest villain in the country. And I go, people can take this information. And Prince Andrew, although he hasn't technically been arrested or anything's happened, I'm sure that most people have got it and have realised what he's probably been involved in. But the fact that happened, and it was a royal, I think people are ready for this. I personally think people can handle the truth, and a lot of people will go, well, that's no surprise. And that other people will be more shocked, but we can all handle the truth. We deserve the truth, and it will come out. And hopefully it will be in a week's time. And, or sooner. Who knows? Who knows what the game is? And like I said, none of us, it's almost like trying to, it's the same thing with trying to understand exactly what happens to us after we die. something happens, but it's too big for us to understand. We can definitely theorize and we can have experiences that are personal to us, but it's too big to understand. And that's a bit like what I think is going on here. And you can't even say things like whether there's any alien involvement or if there's some spiritual involvement, it's some higher power battle. We just don't know. It's too big for us to know. But we're going to be shown something. Something is going to happen. It can't perpetuate like it is. But if things don't go the way we want them to on the 20th, they may, as we've said earlier, they may get worse and go on more, and things might have to get worse before they get better, but they will get better. So be optimistic about time frames.
I 100% agree, my man. And maybe we'll have a catch up in the not too distant future and have a little chat about what's happened.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Awesome, my man. Cool. Cheers for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun.
So, people, that was episode 170 with Tom Stavely. The connection, I know, dropped in and out at times, which is annoying, so we're going to have to try and up that, set up the connection, get a better one over here in Mexico. But generally, it held a lot of the time. I know there was a few moments, but there's a lot of great information in there, and we're going to see what happens over the next 5 days or so, 4 or 5 days or so, to see what happens up until the 20th, whether this stuff that gets talked about with Donald Trump is true, or if it's all just a fugazi, fugazi, it's all just a big swindle. So we'll get to see what happens there. But it's an interesting time, and those of you that are in the UK and dealing with lockdowns, I hope you're doing okay. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be putting out a couple of podcasts on myself talking about how you can best deal with lockdown mentally and emotionally, the best of your abilities, and also why people get ill even though they seem to eat okay and exercise and even have a water filter. I've got a couple of podcast episodes on that, which I think will be very beneficial for you. But if you are in lockdown, remember to do all the things you can to keep yourself mentally and emotionally healthy, like good food, clean water, exercise, get out amongst nature, speak to people you love, listen to uplifting music, do your breath work, and stay away from the news and the mainstream media, because they are just pouring the fear porn into the world, trying to lower the frequency, which we talked about on today's show. So anyway, that was episode 170. As always, if you are dealing with a health issue and you haven't been able to overcome it, and you're looking to put it behind you so you can live life on your terms again, free from frustration and pain, then please don't hesitate to give me an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co. That's ryan@reviveyourself.co, and I'll be in touch with you as soon as possible. We can discuss how we can help you overcome those health issues and get you back to living the life that you want and deserve. So yeah, that's it for today's show, people. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
If you're struggling with gut issues, such as gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, indigestion, heartburn, and want to finally be able to eat the foods you love without the crippling after effects, then don't forget to head over to reviveyourself.co and pick up your free copy of The Healing Health Paradigm today.